Isaiah likely went for 85% of fab in one of my leagues. Some poor soul spent 45% of his fab on Alan Lazar. I want to help you guys, man. I want to help you by telling you who you should get this week now so that you can get ahead of the waiver wire next week. You don't have to drop 85%. You don't have to be that league taco who drops 45% on Alan Lazar, right? I want to help you to avoid those dudes in the first place. I think this video is a really good video to get ahead of the waiver wire, to get ahead of your league mates. I'm Ron. This is Fantasy Flow. Before I waste any more of your time, let's hop into the video. I'm going to give you guys a couple names. So the first category that I want to cover, and it covers a couple names, is handcuffs, right? I think going into most fantasy football weeks, essentially you want to have good handcuffs on good offenses. Make sure these dudes aren't just sitting there on the waiver wire collecting dust. Just in case one of these like high value offenses, one of these stud running backs, like a fucking Breece Hall, like a Bijan Robinson, if these dudes go down, these guys typically end up being league winners. These are the types of lottery tickets you want to like put your bets on. So I just listed here a couple of quick names. Jaleel McLaughlin, that's spelled wrong. Who gives a shit? Marshawn Lloyd, he is the backup to Josh Jacobs for the Packers. Jaleel McLaughlin is not only the backup to Javonte Williams, he's also like the third down back, actually got more snaps, more catches, more yardage. So he was on the field a lot more than Javonte. Trey Benson is the third guy. He's the backup for James Conner. You got Braelon Allen. He's the backup for Breece Hall. Blake Corum, the backup for Kyron Williams. Now, a small caveat with Corum is that Ronnie Rivers would probably also be in the mix if Kyron were to go down. So it wouldn't be a pure Blake Corum show as much as everybody thinks it would. Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving is also another one of those dudes similar to Jaleel McLaughlin. He's got standalone value. He's the backup to Rachaad White for Tampa Bay. But he actually looked really good. He had some juice. He could be a dude that they use as an in-between the tackles runner, which is actually kind of insane. People were drafting Rachaad White as if he was like a three-down back. That was very clearly not the case. So make sure you get handcuffs. Make sure you get these dudes who are like clear standalone value, but they're also handcuffs like the Justice Hills of the world. Make sure these dudes are on your team going into the week because you never know with injuries. You just want to be ahead of that. So that'll help you. That'll help prevent you from having to drop fucking 70 bucks on a dude like Marshawn Lloyd when Josh Jacobs gets injured, if he gets injured. So moving on now. First dude on the list is going to be Adonai Mitchell, guys. Adonai Mitchell is somebody that I think I should be more excited about. I think we should be hyped about. I think we should think he's the GOAT. Is he better than Justin Jefferson? I don't know, dude. Based on some of these charts I'm going to show you guys, you're not going to believe some of this shit, man. So he's a talented, very speedy, deep threat wide receiver for the Colts. He was a day 2 pick, right? So he's somebody that they invested in, somebody that they put a lot of capital in. He almost caught 2 touchdowns last week. And I want to show you guys this video real quick. So keep in mind that there he is here at the top of the screen. He gets fully open, completely burns his man, and he gets overthrown. Horrible. Here again, here's him at the top of the screen. Pump fake, beats his man on the double move. Wide open, he gets overthrown. Those are 2 clear touchdowns. I don't know which one's more clear, to be honest. Like, this is just kind of the pitfalls of having a dude like, and there's another deep pass that he missed out on. So what if he actually gets that touchdown? What if he gets both of those, right? You're talking about a dude who is young, exciting, on a high up-tempo offense like the Colts. And, you know, he's somebody that if they're going to be using him in that way, I don't know if I think Alec Pierce is going to fizzle and he's not going to be quite as effective. I mean, he also was a beast, right? He had like 20 fantasy points last week. So I think Adonai Mitchell takes over that role, the Alec Pierce role, as the season progresses. They just invested too much money in him. And you got to check out some of these graphs, bro. I took some screenshots of these come straight from Twitter. It's Jetpack Galileo. The max speed charted for the week, Adonai Mitchell is number 1 above Xavier Worthy. Keep that in mind. Xavier Worthy is actually the fastest person ever recorded at combine history. So Adonai Mitchell outran him in week one. There's a couple other interesting names on here. Fat Keenan is actually there, 18.3 miles per hour. So that's one data point. Wild, right? Week 1 ASS, average separation score. So minimum of 15 routes run. Who's getting the most open? Basically, who's separating in the routes? AD Mitchell, number 1 yet again, boys. Above Mike Evans, above Jameson Williams, above Pickens. Keep in mind the dudes on this list. It's these big body, long stride wide receivers, dude. These guys cannot get pushed off of their routes. They're big, they're strong, they're fast. I mean, that's what you want to see, bro. I theoretically, according to a lot of fantasy people, ASS, average separation score, is one of the bigger indicators for fantasy production. So that's something that we like to see. Here's another one. Week 1 wide receiver readers in win rate. So dudes who just win their routes, win against the defender. Adonai Mitchell, 44%. Above Nico Collins, CeeDee Lamb, Jameson Williams. Fucking another small caveat, dude. Jameson Williams, dude. Go off, bro. He's on all 3 of these lists, except for the speed one, which is actually insane. I thought Jameson Williams would for sure be on the speed chart. Jameson Williams, 3rd in separation, 4th in win rate. I guess those are kind of closely tied, right? If you separate, you're probably winning the route. Here's one more little chart. This one looks like dog shit. It looks like vomit, but it's basically separation score with catch point and yards after the catch grade. So Adonai Mitchell is way over here when it comes to separation grade, but he's kind of low on the yards after catch because obviously he only had 1 catch, right? So he didn't produce how he probably could if he was, if he got more targets, more catches, if he, converted some of those touchdowns, my guy would be up here. My guy would be up here in this area. So that's something that we want to see, man. That's exciting. Like I said at the beginning of this, is he the GOAT? Is he Justin Jefferson? Like these metrics? You can currently get him from the waiver wire. You can probably get him as like a throw-in piece in a trade, right? Like, go after him, trade for him, pick him up off the waiver wire if he's available. I know there's a waiver wire video, but damn, dude, like, I don't know. Moving on, Wan'Dale Robinson. Wan'Dale Robinson did make one of my sneaky starts of the week for this week. And here is the thesis. So here, it's basically Commanders have probably the worst secondary in the NFL. Very clearly. Like, we saw what happened last week. They got absolutely torched by Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is looking like an MVP out there against that secondary. They gave up the 2nd most points to wide receivers in 2023, and then they lose Kendall Fuller. He goes to Miami. So 12 fucking targets in week 1. This should say targets. You guys are seeing this shit live, dude. Fuck it, we'll do it live. 12 targets in week 1. He only caught 6 of them for about like 40 yards, so he's really just an underneath slot guy. But keep in mind, something that you guys need to know. Actually, we'll get there to this Jacob Gibbs screenshot. So just to quickly tell you why I think he's going to pop off. So he's the safety valve for Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has the pocket presence of Ray Charles. So he panics, he quakes, his boots, he basically shakes out of his britches. His jimmies are rustled. Every catchphrase you want about Daniel Jones. When he gets pressured, he looks for his short yardage guys. He cannot look down the field. I don't know why. And although it's a 43.5 over-under, which is very low, the Giants are underdogs. So the Giants should be losing, and Daniel Jones should be having to pass. I don't think Singletary is going to be the game plan in this game. I think it's going to be the Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson show. Everybody's very big on Neighbors. I think Wan'Dale Robinson also is a great pickup. Pick him up now. I mean, you should have already picked him up off waivers. He had 12 targets. Like, you want to chase volume, right? And then check out this Jacob Gibbs stat, which is very interesting. So since the start of 2023, no cornerback has allowed more receiving yards than Washington's Benjamin St-Juste. In week 1, the Commanders allowed 139 receiving yards to the slot. That included Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Jalen McMillan. They all caught their touchdowns based off of a slot route. So I don't know if you remember last game against the Bucks. Mike Evans caught a touchdown, Jalen McMillan caught a touchdown, and Chris Godwin caught a touchdown. All of them were lined up at the slot when they did catch those touchdowns. Wan'Dale Robinson over here plays 78.3% of his routes were from the slot. Ergo, Wan'Dale Robinson should fucking eat, should maybe get a touchdown, although it's a low over-under. I'm not expecting a lot to go around, but yeah, as I mentioned, Chris Godwin just went 8 for 83 and a touchdown. I doubt it. I doubt that Neighbors is going to be playing in the slot, as I said here. It's going to be Wan'Dale most of the time. They might move Neighbors into the slot if he starts getting double covered like he was last week. But I still think Wan'Dale Robinson's a worthy pickup just in the event that he does, right? You can use him as a trade piece. Next dude, another sneaky start for me is Michael Wilson. So last week he only had 1 catch for 5 yards and a touchdown. Kind of shit, but no one really did well for the Cardinals. Marvin Harrison had even less production, right? He had like 1 catch for 10 yards or something? So he was also cheeks. 48.5 over under at home versus the Rams. This game could very easily be a shootout. It is a divisional game. These games tend to be very shoot-outy. The Rams slot corner defense is also very strong. Keep that in mind. They can be beat on the outside. So look back to last week against the Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown, a complete, no one knows where he is. He's on a milk carton. We still don't know where Amon-Ra is. the slot corners are very good for the Rams. That's like one of the good parts of their defense. So I think that Michael Wilson should be able to produce on the outside versus the Rams. I think that Greg Dortch, who plays out of the slot, Marvin Harrison, who they might play out of the slot a little bit to scheme him open a little bit more, I think he's going to be having a tough time. Michael Wilson should operate mostly out of on the outside. So that's the thesis. What if he pops up again for another touchdown? Maybe gets a little more than 5 yards. People are going to start to look his way, dude. You're going to see him on next week's waiver wire videos if he does that. If he goes like 40 yards and a touchdown, 2 weeks in a row of having a touchdown, people's eyes are starting to, people's ears are going to start perking up. So pick him up now before that shit happens, man. You guys will be thanking me. Next on the list, this one is a deep reach, bro. I reached deep into the fucking coffers for this one. Luke McCaffrey, bro. There's a lot to like about Luke McCaffrey. We're going to first check out this Coach Speak Index video. This is the head coach, Dan Quinn, talking about the development of Luke McCaffrey. It's been a sudden prop change as I put on headphones. That's the magic of YouTube editing. So we're going to watch this
together. With regards to the receivers, we talked to you the other day a little bit about that, but I guess with like Luke McCaffrey in particular, how do you kind of feel that he's kind of fitting into that group? Because he obviously played, I think, the second most snaps behind Terry. It looked like he was being used in that way all summer. So where do you kind of think he hit him and where he kind of fits in right now?
I think we're seeing it go like this. And so that's why more reps and more playing time to go. We've really seen kind of that confidence grow, especially inside in the slot, where he can use some of that strength and work guys through. So, yeah, I just kind of can see his development continue to grow. And that's going to happen, with the younger.
Yeah, so what can I say, bro? They like what they see. Rocket ship emoji was thrown out by Dan Quinn. It's very rare you see rocket ship emojis be thrown out in live, in real time. But yeah, so Luke McCaffrey's the clear wide receiver too, man. They're saying all offseason they traded Jahan Dotson away to the Eagles. They said like there is no clear wide receiver 2 on this team. Some people thought it was Diami Brown. Some people were fucking dropping stacks on Diami Brown last week. Huh? I don't know why. Anyway, Luke McCaffrey, he's developing. They spent draft capital on him. He was second in snaps for wide receivers in week 1, as Dan Quinn mentioned. And Cliff Kingsbury brought the horizontal raid. And that means that James Daniels only had a 5.5 average depth of target on most of his passes. So horizontal raid meaning they're not looking very often downfield. With him, again, you guys are seeing this shit be done live. Yeah, so James Daniels is looking around the line of scrimmage, a lot of short passes, a lot of like quick routes, quick stuff to Austin Eckler, to Brian Robinson, Luke McCaffrey, as he starts to, operate out of the slot a lot more. So this is an anti-Terry McLaurin tweet, an anti-Terry McLaurin take. This is rough for Terry McLaurin, but wheels up for Luke McCaffrey. 92% route rate, 76% of them were from the slot. So 92% route rate just means that when he was on the field, he was running a route 92% of the time. And he had a high win rate, the highest win rate on the Washington in week 1 at 25% win rate on all of his routes. So that's per fantasy points data. That's what you like to see. They also ran a play. I don't have it here on Twitter. Maybe we could look it up together if you guys are interested. It's a play in which Luke McCaffrey, they do like a fucking Philly special. Check this shit out. Luke McCaffrey. Let's see if we can find this. Check this shit out. Pass to Luke McCaffrey. Looks like he's going to throw it back to Jaden Daniels. He ends up running. Yeah, so that could have been a Philly special there. If they're going to be using him in those types of plays, bro, like, I don't know who recorded this. Probably had a stroke at the end of it. Like, boom. Here he does. Yep. Looks like he was about to throw it back to Jaden Daniels for maybe some type of like fake deep Hail Mary type play. But yeah, man. Like, I know that's a deep one. I know that's a pretty gross one, but Luke McCaffrey, I think, is a sneaky waiver wire pickup now. I think maybe he doesn't produce for you this week, but he's somebody that I can imagine being a serviceable play as the season progresses, as they realize that they can start to get some of these younger guys involved. Hope you guys liked this video. If you did, I would really appreciate a like, a sub. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if there's other like deep waiver wire picks. Honorary mention, I will just say he's not on here on my list, but Keaton Mitchell, if he's available, pick him up, throw him on your IR spot, please. He is one of the highest rated players per PFF just on player grades. speed, receiving, rushing. Keaton Mitchell's an absolute beast. Pick him up. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.